Okay, good morning. Welcome to our presentation, Innovative Online Teaching Techniques. Brenda Forde and I, Kevin Kuznia, will be presenting, talking a little bit about rebuilding some of our programs using some innovative online teaching techniques. Just a little introduction. I'm Kevin Kuznia. I'm the chair of the Finance and Economics programs here at Ashford University. I've been full-time with the university for 6 years. Associated with the university 11 years. I was a associate faculty before. And prior to coming to Ashford, I used to work for John Deere as a data analyst. And I spent several years doing that. So it's kind of fun making the bridge over to academics. And Brenda, do you want to say something about yourself?
Sure, thanks, Kevin. I'm Brenda Forde, and similar to Kevin, I come from a corporate background. I worked at American Express for a number of years, and then came into the academic world about 11 years ago. So it's real interesting to bring that corporate real life to the classroom. It's really what the goal is, and we'll be talking about some of that today.
Okay, so Brenda and I have three main objectives today. We want to talk about NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and why it's important to align with industry standards and curriculum development. Then we're going to demonstrate some innovative techniques like simulations, gamifications, RSS feeds, portfolio, etc., that kind of get students hooked or engaged in the whole process. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some techniques that we use to build courses that are interesting to students and really have real-world applicability. Okay, so just a few words about NACE, or the National Association of Colleges and Employers. This was kind of where we started with, okay, how do we link curriculum to what students need to understand once they graduate? So we relied on NACE and their expertise as far as giving us some guidance on exactly what we can do in our classes. So NACE was established over 60 years ago to link together professionals with academia. NACE is the leading source of information on the employment of colleges and helping students understand what they need to do. And really the emphasis that we want to bring today is building graduates that are career ready. So when they actually get that first job or second job, they can hit the ground running. So some of the competencies that we put in front of ourselves when we started building courses was, okay, so every one of these courses needs to consider these 8 important things. Do our courses provide critical thinking and problem-solving skills? How are students assessed on oral communication or written communication? Important in today's corporate environment is the ability to teamwork and collaborate with others. We wanted to introduce digital technologies. Leadership, of course, is very important in today's corporate world. Many of all our courses have a professionalism or work ethic incorporated into them. Many of our assignments have direct ties to career management, and our courses also include global and intercultural fluency. With that, I'm going to ask Brenda to talk a little bit about the MBA program and the redesign of the MBA program.
Can we just go back for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to make a couple comments on NACE, because this is really the foundation that we really use. And if you look at the competencies, these are things where academia came together and business people came together and they said, what's important? And that's where these 8 competencies came from. And they're typical. Critical thinking, I think we'd all go, yeah, of course. We don't need a study on that. We know that. Leadership, of course. We know that. But a couple of them that really stood out, particularly for a school like us that's virtual, is the oral communications. You know, we're really strong in written communications. We're writing every week. We're doing papers. But in an online environment, you know, the oral communications can be a little bit overlooked. And it's so vitally important in the business world. So, and we'll talk about this as we go through how we develop the program, but we have a real emphasis on oral communication skills. So we have our students preparing presentations, videotaping themselves, practicing that important skill. And the other one that sort of popped up to me that surprised me a little bit was the career management. And we'll talk about how we incorporate that as well in having our students think about their careers, why they're getting their degrees, all the way throughout the program, and reflecting upon what they're actually doing. So I just want to give a few of those that I thought were a little bit maybe out of the ballpark of what we were thinking at the beginning. So we had the opportunity to develop this MBA program. I can talk about it for hours, so I'm going to try and shorten my time here because I love to talk about the MBA program. It was such a unique opportunity to be able to build it from scratch. Here are the courses that we have in our current MBA program. And as Kevin was talking about, it really was a way for us to try and get our students as prepared in the workforce as possible, giving them those latest skills that they need. And a couple of them that might stand out, we have Dr. Avishi here that actually developed the global marketing course. All of our courses are very globally focused. So our current program is a little, domestic only, and that's really not the business world today. It's more global. So when she took this course on and developed it, she really made it a global emphasis. We see other things like data and decision analytics, not found in every MBA program. This one was particularly important to us, and particularly with Kevin's background and some of the work he had done at John Deere in turning information or data into real information that can be used by businesses. And this is a skill set, right? And it's one of the most important skill sets in business is to make decisions. And how do you make decisions? You've got to look at data, you've got to make it into information, and you've got to make the best decision. So that was sort of a unique course. We have my favorite course, which was the Global Economics and Political Influence, and we have Steve Forbes featured in that one. So we have a leading expert telling us about economics, and obviously he has a lot of expertise in that area. So the courses were selected very carefully, tried to make it interesting, and to really get our students the real world experience they need. Yeah?
The international business virtual experience.
Sure. What we have in this particular course is we wanted, our goal in this one was if a student goes to top business school, Harvard, or one of these, Yale or something, almost all a part of that program, they have an opportunity to travel abroad. Well, our students, this is not going to be possible. They're working students. So what our goal is in this particular course is to give them that opportunity. So we went out and we found vendors that have a lot of virtual video types of interactive type of activities, and we're trying to give them, we have them select a specific country, and we try and give them that cultural experience as much as possible through our online courses.
Is it simulation?
Some of it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with this, we wanted to share with you today just some of the tools we've used to try and be innovative in the courses. Particularly with our online environment, the real goal here was to bring the material to life, right? It's sort of flat on the screen on your computer. We want to try and make it more interesting. That was one of our big challenges. So we're going to talk through some of the ways we went about doing that. We have some simulations to Dr. Tom and Jorge's presentation. TriCore is our big capstone course where we have that one of our simulations. We use real life case studies. We'll talk a little bit about some gaming and gamifications we have. We have tremendous amount of videos in all of our courses. Quantitative courses, we're using the latest labs. We'll talk about some of our blogs that we have in our courses, a case study, portfolio, and we'll get into detail, and we'll talk more about career development as well. But this is sort of a beginning list, and we'll go through each one of these.
First thing that we'd like to demonstrate are some simulations, or how we actually incorporate simulations. So we're going to be playing some of these simulations or showing you videos or examples, etc. So the next few slides are actually going to be, this is how they're incorporated in the classroom. Can you see that okay? All right.
Maybe it's not going to pull up for us. Well, the bottom one here, the TriCore, we already saw the details on that one. So that's one of the simulations we're using. Another one here, the top one here, the Blue Ocean Strategies simulation. We're actually going to use this in our, we're using it in our entrepreneur course. And we thought our students could really benefit from a simulation that's based on branding oneself, marketing oneself, strong communication skills, some of those skills that you need whether you're starting a business or whether you're inside a corporation. So there's an interesting simulation around that one as well.
All right.
If we can't pull it up, that's fine.
I can't go anywhere. There's no mouse.
Oh, okay. Help. Oh, you're not. Can you just escape? Oh, but this is the website
Okay.
for the first one. And if we are able to page down,
Okay.
we can see that there's that this particular company, we're only using one of their particular products, but they have many different simulations that can fit quite nicely into various courses. And again, it challenges the students, it aligns to our course objectives, and it just makes it more interesting. I gave a little training presentation yesterday, and I just got a tremendous amount of feedback of how students are really interested and enjoy simulations. So much more than, you know, the typical writing the paper, you know, some of the typical assignments we might have in the classroom.
All right.
We just go next. We don't need to go to TriStar, that's fine.
Okay.
Stuck again?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All right. There we go. So let's talk about real life case studies.
All right. So another, and we'll go to that one if we can.
All right.
Another thing that we wanted to build into our courses are real companies. You know, it's nice to have assignments that have a corporation, but it makes it a lot more interesting, I believe, if we're talking about companies that are really out there. So we came across real case studies. This is a company that puts together real companies that are out there and challenges that they might be having. They have wonderful videos attached from the actual employees talking about their businesses. So we are using a particular case study in here called Beefsteaks. Even though ironically it's a restaurant, ironically they sell vegetables, not beef. But it's a startup type of company. It's been in existence for a couple of years now, and they're in the expansion. It's all about, you know, this healthy food and new food and you know, eating healthy, and it's that kind of a walk-through restaurant. And again, it's to add interest. You know, and again, this company has many, many different case studies. It's the one that we chose. We actually decided to put it into our human capital course, and we're looking at it from a cultural HR perspective. So we're understanding, we're starting up, we're going to be expanding domestically, internationally, what cultural, who are we going to hire, how are we going to structure? So we have it filtering all through that particular course. But there's many ways you could use these in tons of different types of courses. But for us, that's the way we used it, again, to add interest. The other thing that we did, aside from using a vendor like this, is when we built our assignments, we tried to incorporate you know, real life companies and things that are happening or have happened in the companies. An example of this, again, in our HR courses, we took a look at Abercrombie and Hooters. Some of the most interesting HR issues that have happened in various companies, and we have the students look at that from a legal perspective, an ethical perspective. It just makes for an interesting human resource compliance discussions. So EI Games is a very interesting company. It stands for Emotional Intelligence, and again, they have many different games. But the founder of this, his name is Kevin as well, and he developed games, really diverse character type games that really help teach course objectives in a very interesting manner. We have slotted this, one of their particular games, in our business law and ethics course, because if you think about you're going to be studying ethics, maybe not so exciting, right? You enter the classroom, you're like, oh, okay, here we go, ethics. So we tried to find a way to make it more interesting. And the game is quite, I've played it several times. You put yourself in a CEO or CFO position. There's a lot of decisions you have to make. And the game will sort of walk you through, it scores you. But it really shows it's not just right or wrong, black or white. It'll give you answers like, that's a good answer, but there's a better way. So it sort of leads you down, really thinking through your decision and what's ethically happening. A very interesting way to go about doing that. Can we play his video or we can't play that? Not working? Okay.
Well,
He had a little
trying.
video, but it didn't seem that.
Let's see if this one will work. No? Kate, how do I flip over to the internet?
Oh, here.
While we're queuing that video up, one of the main things we did in our courses was to infuse them with many, many videos. And we've got a couple here we wanted to share with you. But we have videos from authors, from industry experts, a lot of instructor videos, again, trying to bring that material to life. And we had an interesting one with Steve Forbes in getting his views on capitalism versus socialism. Obviously, he has quite a strong feeling and views on this particular topic. So we tried to get that type of expertise into the classroom.
There we go. Kate, don't go too far.
Okay. Steve, I know you're a strong believer in capitalism. Can you give us your best argument to support capitalism over socialism?
Capitalism is about enabling individuals to do things that they do best. You find that you have more creativity with capitalism. You have people saving, which creates capital for the future. That's how you get progress, people investing. And so it's a liberating force. As Abraham Lincoln said, it enables you to improve your lot in life. Socialism is about tyranny. It assumes that everything that is known is already known. That's why you don't get innovation often out of government. It's usually people coming in from the outside, from those unlikely backgrounds, doing great things. So capitalism is about trend.
So it gives you a flavor. And then our discussion to go along with that week is having the students debate back and forth, capitalism versus socialism, the pros and cons. So again, just trying to make it a bit more interesting. The other video that we won't have time to show, but it was John Tamney talking about why income inequality is a positive thing. We hear a lot in the news about income inequality and the poor things, you know, the disadvantages of that. He has a view and some pretty good arguments about why it makes the economy actually run. So interesting again on the videos.
We also incorporate many labs in many of our courses. These are interactive labs where students actually have to do the research and then input their own figures and that kind of stuff. And it really helps in the finance and accounting areas because the answers are not always the same. So it's very, very difficult to go out and search for the answer. The students actually have to work through the answer. And Brenda and I had the good fortune yesterday to work with the McGraw-Hill representatives. And we actually did some simulations in a workshop. And it was really, really dynamic as far as, you know, taking the student perspective and how they work through these problems. So that was pretty exciting.
A lot of these tools also have help me solve type buttons. So if I'm a student and I'm trying to get through this quantitative work and maybe not my background, I've got some online tools immediately that can help me get through my homework and assist me.
In many classes, we've also inserted live blogs or dynamic RSS feeds. So students can click on those feeds and see what's going on today. And if I were able to click on these feeds, you'd actually see updates from this morning as far as what these industry experts have suggested.
So if we think about a classroom, everything is just sort of flat in our classrooms. The feeds, though, are constantly changing and updating. So while we might not be able to update our courses, as much as we want to and have the most current things, the current topics of the day, it's coming up in our blog. So as we're doing our discussion questions, these are right off to the side here coming up, and it's enabling our students and our instructors to really interact more on what's happening in today's world. And we have that in all of our classes.
Brenda, early on in the MBA program, designed a case study that would follow the student all the way through the MBA program. And that case study is tuned to be specific to the course that the student's taking. So Brenda and I worked on the data analytics course. So again, we take that base case study and we apply data analytics principles to that case. So students do some data analytics for Walmart. In the finance class, students take that same case and they do some financial analysis. And so that case study is dynamic all the way through the class. They just look at different aspects of the case.
We also have built into all of our courses the tool of Portfolio. And I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but that's a tool where students can take some of their assignments, some of their top assignments, and they can house it in Portfolio. And then when they're out interviewing, and let's say they're going for a marketing job or something, they will be able to show prospective employers the marketing plan that they actually developed in the classroom. So they can put forward some real work that they've done, some of their top-notch work. Yep. We've also, throughout the program, we've thought about career development, and this is something I just mentioned a little bit ago, but we were very mindful as we went through the courses to have our students be very conscious of why they're here and getting their MBA program. So in the leadership course, we have them start out taking Clifton Strengths, which is an internal reflective type tool, looking at your strengths and your opportunities. We use that again in our human capital course as they make a development plan. In the marketing course, we have some LinkedIn assignments and also some branding assignments, networking assignments as well in a later course. We have them go out to LinkedIn. Of course, most of them already have their profiles, but how might we improve their profiles? Looking at other people that have earned their MBAs and what careers they're doing. It's really a thought process all the way through the program. And of course, in the end, we'll be doing cover letters and resumes and the typical things that you would see.
Also throughout the program, we've implemented the current literature regarding all the subjects in the MBA program. So we're kind of proud of this, where we're actually going to be circulating various business books throughout the program. So this is just what we have today, but this is going to be changing as the years go on. This is something that we're especially proud of. We've got some classes now that are running these techniques, and these are actual student comments, unedited, from our course surveys. And as we can see, students really are very, very happy and thrilled about many of these technologies that we've implemented. So we actually do have some proof that students are engaged. So some of our key takeaways today: we're always going to be presented with industry trends and challenges, and we need to update that curriculum to reflect those trends. And technology provides many solutions to help in supporting student success.